Üniversitesi YouTube stüdyosundayız. Ben Profesör Doktor Ali Çaksu, İktisadi ve İdari Bilimler Fakültesi Siyaset Bilimi ve Kamu Yönetiminde hocayım. Bugün bir konuğumuz var Bosna'dan. Kendisi de benimle aynı bölümde hoca. Yeni katıldı bize. Kendisi master ve doktorasını Zagreb'de Dünya ve Avrupa tarihi üzerine yaptı. Daha sonra Saray Üniversitesi Tarih Enstitüsü'nde çalıştı. Ondan sonra da bir Türk kuruluşu olan Uluslararası Saraybosna Üniversitesi'nde görev yaptı. Ve az önce dediğim gibi birkaç ay önce bizim bölümümüze katıldı. Have a nice day. We are at Balıkesir University YouTube studio. Today we have a guest from Bosnia. In fact, he is also part of Balıkesir University. He has recently joined the Department of Political Science and Public Administration at this university. I am Ali Çaksu. I am also a professor at the same department. Today we will talk about Turkish-Bosnian relations. But before that, our guest will provide information about history of the region as well. So I would like to start with my first question. Could you please provide us with a brief historical background of Bosnia and the Balkans?
Hello, and thank you for having me today. I hope that we will give a fruitful and important information for the viewers about the history of Bosnia and the Balkans, even if some of these information that I'm going to provide are probably well known to people, especially to our colleagues, the scholars and the academicians at the Balıkesir University. So talking about Bosnia and the Balkans, we actually know that we are talking about some kind of the area, space in between East and the West from the very beginning of the history, because we know that the region of the Balkans was populated some 2,000 and more years by the Thracians on the east, Illyrians on the west. The Roman Empire was divided, what is quite interesting, exactly on the border of Bosnia and Serbia, today on the Eastern Byzantine Empire and the Western Roman Empire. So this is somehow the destiny of Bosnia and the Balkans, to be somewhere in between. And this is something what shaped mostly the Bosnian culture, the Bosnian politics, and the Bosnian mentality, I would say. That kind of the borderland, of the border people that we became in the early stages of our history. So that division actually between East and the West also became religious division on Orthodoxy on the East and Catholicism on the West, where Bosnia actually became quite different. The Bosnia had its own church, its own approach to religion, and of course it created so many problems. In the history, it is a well-known Bosnian church with very specific approach to imagine of God, imagine of good and evil. And this is something what I really believe that is one of the main characteristics of the Bosnians or Bosniaks, if you want. So being land like that, being a society like that, created so many specific characteristics of the Bosniaks during that ancient period and medieval period, and a lot of challenges. One of the most, let's say, biggest challenges were the Crusades against the Bosnians and Bosnian church, mostly by the Hungarian state during the 13th and the 14th century. And the attempts from the Rome, from the Vatican, from the Pope to influence more the Bosnian nobles, Bosnian aristocracy, Bosnian kings after Tvrtko and the other kings at the end of the 14th century, when Bosnia became a kingdom actually, to accept Catholicism. So all of it actually shaped that specific mentality, specific approach toward the neighborhood, and some kind of closeness, I would say, of Bosnian society. It is not shaped only by the geography. We know that the Bosnia is mountainous region, and not on the main roads, European roads, that it is somehow aside, even today, from the main developments in that sense, but also because of these societal characteristics developed during the long period of time. So actually talking about Bosnia in that period, we are talking about something quite specific for the Balkan region, and the land which definitely stands in the core of that, I would say today, talking from the geopolitical perspective, the buffer zone of the Europe, even of the world. So Bosnia actually is a small, interesting, specific land with its own very specific historical development.
I think you believe that the Ottoman era was marked by multiculturalism. What would you say about this? How would you explain it for us?
Yes. Actually, the Ottoman period changed a lot when we are talking about Bosnia and whole Balkans, we know. You remember what I said and how I introduced the history of Bosnia and the Balkans. It was very strong division on East and the West. Very strong division on Orthodoxy and Catholicism. And that division is religious, civilizational, cultural, political, societal. I would say in every and any area of life, it was possible to see that division. From the 9th, 10th century until the beginning of the 15th century, when the Ottomans actually came to the Balkans. The Ottoman influence in Bosnia and Herzegovina started at the very beginning of the 15th century. Even the Bosnia was conquered by the Ottomans in 1463, 10 years after the Istanbul was conquered by the Sultan Mehmed Fatih. From 1915, we had two groups among Bosnian aristocrats, pro-Ottoman and anti-Ottoman group. But the main challenge and main transformation, talking about the Bosnians and the Bosnian society, actually was that psychological change, I would say. When the Ottomans came with their law, Islamic law, the structure of the society, with the establishment of the new relations, actually they totally broke that division on East and the West. There were three not equal groups, not equal ethnic groups, but with their own, I would say, autonomies. Orthodox, Catholics, and the Muslims, who were the ruling and became the ruling class in that period of time. But that division, East and the West, actually was changed because the Ottomans reached the we know Serbia, Kosovo, Albania, Macedonia, Bosnia, Croatia. A lot of parts of Croatia were under the Ottoman rule for more than 150 years. Hungary, that threat from the north disappeared for a long period of time. They reached Vienna at the end of the 17th century, 18th century actually, 17th, sorry. So the new societal practices emerged, talking about the whole region, and especially Bosnia. And how that division additionally was somehow deleted by coming of the Jews from Andalusia. After the fall of Andalusia, Islamic Andalusia, we know that the Ottomans actually took the Jews to protect them. And it was fourth group which actually became very important in the Balkans, in that part of the Ottoman state. So that concept of the multiculturalism was introduced then. There was no division. The Orthodox had their own rights, their own rule, their own, how they say, knes, who was like a ruler among them, the autonomy. It was the similar with Catholics. As I said, Muslims were the part of the ruling class. The Jews came with their own tradition, with their own law, with their businesses, etc. So definitely this is the period when multiculturalism was introduced in the Balkans, when, for example, as we all know, the Europe became separated in many ways as societies after the emergence of the Protestant religion and the religious war. So that's why I'm actually talking about that period of time, talking about the emergence of the real multiculturalism. Of course, not like the contemporary one, but where the different cultures, different religions had its own space and the rights within umbrella of the state.
Let's move now to the 20th century. How were the relationships between Turkey and Yugoslavia?
Well, I would say that the relations were not so bad, but so many bad influences from the 19th century somehow remained in the political sphere. Why I'm mentioning the 19th century? We know that the 19th century is the period when the nation state emerged, and that concept, political and societal concept of the national state as a modern achievement, political achievement, and universal empire as something what is backward and something that should go back in the history, something what should be abolished, somehow challenged the Bosnian society and the Bosniaks especially, and I would say Islam as a religion in that part of the world. So these two political concepts we know actually fought in the Balkans, especially after the Berlin Congress, 1878, when we can see the serious decline of the Bosnian society, of the Bosnian state, and especially of the Islam as a religion, when actually the whole culture became not so much important and somehow hostile to others. They actually, mostly Orthodox, of course, and from the Bosnian perspective, actually, I can say the Serbs saw Islam as a threat and some kind of the bad legacy of the Ottoman period. And this is something what endangered the Bosniaks so much, and we know our historical experience from that period of time to the last war we had. We will talk about it, of course. But all it was somehow covered by many atrocities, and Bosnian culture, religion was neglected in every possible way. So that period, I would say, after Berlin Congress to the establishment of the first Yugoslavia, after First World War, was very critical period for the Bosniaks, Bosnian state, which actually became very, very weak and disappeared in one period of time during the 30s. And it definitely had a strong influence on something what you already asked me, the relations between Yugoslavia and Turkey. Relations between Yugoslavia and Turkey, I mean, we can speak about more serious relations after Second World War. The primary characteristic, I would say, were migrations. Whole that period, the Muslim population from Bosnia-Herzegovina, Serbia, or Sanjak, North Macedonia, and Kosovo as well, actually witnessed waves and waves of migrations to Turkey. I would say that the Bosnians believed for so many years after Berlin Congress that the Ottoman state will return. But they realized somehow, especially during the Balkan Wars and the First World War, that it is not going to happen. But this is the main characteristic. And I would say that Yugoslavia actually tried to get the benefits from it by signing the different agreements with Republic of Turkey, where they had some even financial gains from that migration of the Muslim population to Turkey. But this is one important thing. Second.
What kind of financial gains you mean?
Very simply. Turkey paid the migrants to go, paid Yugoslavia, actually, that migrants will go to Turkey, and in Turkey they paid to migrants the place where they will stay and everything what is necessary. So it was actually double pay by Turkey, but nothing from the Yugoslav side, you know. So they received some kind of the money, and they expelled the
Muslims.
Specific type of the population. I would say Muslims. Yes. So this kind of the gain. The second actually was related to security. The Turkey became the NATO member. This is the period of the Cold War. Yugoslavia was like different type of socialism with influence by the Western powers, but we know that the Yalta Conference decided 50-50 influence in Yugoslavia between the communism and democracy, let's say. So in that sense, Turkey, Greece, Bulgaria, Yugoslavia actually tried to cooperate in these sectors of the security, and it actually, I would say, were quite okay. But the most important relation became that between the new diaspora in Turkey and the Bosniaks, Macedonians, and Albanians in Yugoslavia, who remained at home. So I would say that it preserved somehow these relations. The warmer political relations between Yugoslavia and Turkey throughout the whole that period. What I would say was very beneficial. We can just imagine what would happen, for example, if Yugoslavia was hostile or some kind of the enemy to Turkey in that whole period. Probably the inhabitants of Turkey who are originally from the Balkans would forget almost everything about their families back there. So talking about the Yugoslavian and Turkish relations after Second World War, actually we can speak about the emergence of the huge diaspora, which preserved the ties on the family level, on the regional level, which preserved ties on the cultural level. And these security reasons, especially for the NATO during the 50s and the 60s, mostly the 50s and the 60s, when they tried to establish some kind of the alliance between Yugoslavia, Turkey, and Greece. But also, I would say that it proved that the position of Turkey, actually, no matter what kind of the political relations you have, or what kind of the ideology do you have in certain part of the Balkans, remained important and remained, I would say, crucial for the Balkan states.
Okay, my last question is about current Turkish-Bosnian relations. What do we have in hand, and what are the expectations from both sides?
So, I think that changed position of the Muslims throughout 20th century is something what influenced these relations, where, for example, people are expecting the more influence by Turkey in every possible way, on the cultural level, on the political level, on the security level, because culturally speaking, Turkey still, for the Balkan nation, especially for the Bosniaks, represents one of the strongest Muslim states and the nations. From the security reasons, Turkey is one of the strongest NATO member states. The political reasons, of course, Turkey became the power in this part of the world, and somehow through the better cooperation and the more influence by Turkish state, people would feel more secure in that sense. So we know, for example, that Turkish state developed very important institutions in Bosnia and Herzegovina. Yunus Emre Institute, TIKA is involved in so many ways throughout the whole Balkans, not only in Bosnia and Herzegovina. The educational institutions, from the, I would say, kindergarten to the higher education, also are having very important role in Bosnia and Herzegovina. And this kind of the cultural exchange happened all the time, continuously. Talking about the industry or economy, we know that Turkish private sector is involved in Bosnia and Herzegovina in the building of the highways, reconstruction of the bridges, etc. So I would say that it is increased in the last 20 years, from the beginning of the 21st century till now. The Turkish presence is somehow visible in the Balkans and in Bosnia and Herzegovina. But it is about the expectations, I would say. Mostly it is about the expectations that, for example, the Bosniaks would like to see more involvement by Turkish state in the context of economy. I know that there are misunderstandings there, but I'm just giving the one public perception about it. So they would like to see the presence of a Turkish state in that field, because our economy is weak, at the first place. Secondly, talking about the Bosniaks, they would like to see more clear political stance when we speak about our regional cooperation and relations. Because, again, there are misunderstandings you can hear from time to time, why the Turkey is so well with Serbia or Albania or even Croatia, but we have better ties and we need, I would say, more help from Turkey. And this is a problem, I would say. This is one important problem, that the Bosniaks would like to see 100% support by the Turkey, because we were victims of the war, because we witnessed the genocide. We were on the right side. In that sense, actually, I think that we are behaving very emotionally. Very emotionally. We are not rational, we are not practical in that sense. And there, I think that we need to talk more and to find a common place how to conduct our relations in the future, talking about Bosnia and Herzegovina and Turkey. What Turkey is expecting, I think, it's like more clear programs, plans, defined actions, and what will the benefit of it. And there is a lack of that kind of the approach, definitely. And these gaps are becoming visible when we're talking about the Bosnian and Turkish relations. So I would say actually that definitely we need to talk more about these expectations, not on the emotional level, not on the level of our common mutual legacy that we have almost 500 years being the same Ottoman state, but on the needs of both sides and some kind of the mutual concepts for the future. In that sense, I really believe that Turkey can contribute more and should gain more by right approach toward the politics in the Balkans, and more specifically toward the Bosniaks in the Balkans and the Bosnian state. So there are some kind of the noises in the communication, we can see it, but also this kind of the different expectations, I would say. So the talks should, I believe, minimize these noises and establish the realistic approach toward it. I just want to underline one, I would say, important thing. For the Bosniaks, or majority of the Bosniaks, Turkey is the most important ally, the most important country, and that's why the expectations are high. But having that in mind, from the Turkish side should also give some kind of the understanding how to approach to it, because I said during our talk that we experienced genocide in the last war, that Bosniaks were attacked by Serbs, later on by Croats as well. The Western democracies for years just looked what is going on, so we understand right now what is going on in Gaza. We know perfectly actually what is going on there, unfortunately. And as a nation, we are hurt, and it is not easy to get out of that position. And that's why when you have a friend, like we have Turkey, you are expecting 100 understanding by that side and 100% support from that side. But in the politics, in the reality, it is not possible, and it is not achievable. So I really believe that there is a lot of places, a lot of space to upgrade these, I would say, relations between Bosnia and Herzegovina and Turkey, or between Bosniaks and the Turks, and to achieve what is necessary: security, autonomy, prosperity, etc. for both sides, but mostly for the Bosniak population in the Balkans. I would say, as a very small population right now, we are talking about 2 million people who are living in Bosnia and Herzegovina and Sanjak as well.
Dear Professor Admir Mulaosmanovic, we thank you a lot for this interesting interview. I am sure we will have some more interviews related to Bosnia, Balkans, and the region. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for the invitation. I'm very glad that I had a chance to speak about my homeland and about the Balkans. There are so many topics that could be covered, so many interesting historical processes happened in that part of the world. I hope that we will have a chance, as you mentioned, to discuss it once again. And I want to thank to Balıkesir University for this opportunity to address people. At the end, I hope that a lot of students will watch it. Thanks again.